This is how I retired in 5 years, starting with $0, no savings, no investments. And I think the answer is going to surprise a lot of you, but it was fairly straightforward. I'm also going to talk about what I'd do differently if I started over with $0 today, as opposed to in 2018 or before COVID. I'm also going to do this like countdown style. So it's basically 8 steps from scratch to freedom. We're going to start with the nightmare scenario, which is everyone's sort of worst case, worst possibility, like where you could be at. And let's say the unthinkable happens to you right now in the next few months. You wake up one day and it's all gone. There's no savings. There's nothing in the bank. The market's crashed, yada, yada, right? The house, the job, the 401k, who knows? Maybe even your hairline, hopefully not your health. You've got $0 in the bank, 0 assets, 0 passive income, and no one's calling you back for that middle management gig that used to feel like a sure thing when you were in your early 40s. Your late 40s, maybe 50s, divorced, and the last time you updated your resume, you still had a Hotmail going. It's not a great situation. Let's put it simply. Welcome to square one. So what would you do, or what would I do in this case? Because here's the cold, hard truth of the matter. 44% of Americans aged 55 to 64 have no retirement savings. This is real life. Social Security pays less than rent in Kansas City. Eggs are about $7 a dozen. A mechanic is going to charge you $180 to $200 just to spit at your car. It's a rough situation for a lot of people. And retirement isn't a milestone anymore. It's a pipe dream for most of us. And it certainly was for me until I basically changed my whole life around. I was in the exact same boat before I left it all behind and moved to Southeast Asia. But here's the flip side. If I had to start over again, and I already did once at 36, this time around I wouldn't play defense. I wouldn't be so tentative. I would go direct on offense and be proactive. So here it is. Let's dive into the steps. $0 start, 5-year plan, no BS, no crypto dreams, just a practical roadmap to opt in and basically live free or die trying no matter where it takes you. By the way, I'm Evan A. I'm retired early in Vietnam. The first step, number 8, is to get the hell out of Dodge. Geo-arbitrage isn't travel. It's like an economic protection. It's a self-defense mechanism to save your soul and your bank account from burning to the ground. You can't save your way to freedom if your rent or mortgage is $2,000 a month, if you're spending 30 to 40% of your income on housing alone. It's already game over if you get yourself into this situation, and I know because I was literally there when I was in Toronto. And I don't care how many coupons you clip or if you haven't seen the inside of a restaurant since Obama was in office, none of that fire minimalism stuff is going to work if your housing costs too much. If you're paying Western prices for a life you barely like, you're just a slow bleed out till you're dry. There's no saving it. So I left Toronto when I realized I was working multiple jobs full time just to afford to keep working and keep up with the Joneses or the neighbors. I was a government paid school teacher, I worked in a bar, and I did deliveries. No thanks. Moved to Vietnam, smell you later. My monthly rent dropped from $2,000 to $400. A dinner went from about $60 to $3, $4. And for the first time in years, I could breathe, I could think a little bit, and I started saving, really by accident. This wasn't a vacation for me. It was almost like a minimalist retreat or a step back from the system. And basically, you want to go where your money buys you time and not stuff. Trust me on this, Amazon doesn't make your life easier, it just makes you poorer faster. Number 7, kill your expenses before they kill you. This one is all about the burn rate, what's going out the door every month. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as intended. And it's keeping the vast majority of you and I and us broke. And that's on purpose. That is how the labor market functions. You know what's harder than being broke though? Literally worse things out there. Being broke in an expensive country that is gaslighting you into thinking it is your fault for not working hard enough. That's absolute BS. Whatever it is, Starbucks, subscriptions, tech upgrades, planned obsolescence, fast food and fast fashion, all of it is engineered to keep you earning just enough to stay afloat and to never get ahead. That's just the cold, hard reality of America today. Nope. Get out, and get out now when the going is good. I said no to Uber Eats, no to $7 toothpaste, no to chasing the newest shiny object. I basically just said, this crap is not worth my life, and my life is all about time. Instead, I ditched my car payments for a $200 motorbike. I bought $1 street noodles that were healthy and homemade and full of real ingredients. I cut my expenses to $500 a month in cash spending and another $400 for my rent. The entire burn rate was under $1,000. And suddenly I was saving 80% of my income on a teacher's salary with a monthly burn rate of about $980 US. Unimaginable. Absolutely impossible back home. You don't need a 6-figure job, you need a 4-figure lifestyle. And that's still possible for a lot of us if we choose to live abroad. But you have to be proactive about it. This decision isn't going to happen for you. 6, find work that doesn't feel like your soul is dying inside of you every Monday morning. Retirement doesn't necessarily mean doing nothing. It means doing anything else but working to earn other people money. No contracts, no jobs, no obligations to people outside of you. I didn't hate working. In fact, I loved being a school teacher. That's why I did it for 17 years. But I did become the kind of person who hated what and who I was working for. Commutes, deadlines, HR meetings about alignment, corporate schmucks in blue suits walking around in the hallways. And because of that, I decided to build self-reliance. I freelanced, I invested and traded, I made videos, and I sold my time and services online by tutoring to people who wanted my help. The goal wasn't passive income yet, it was just to have a stacked income with multiple streams coming in. It was small at first. $2,500 for my job, $800 to $1,000 a month from tutoring direct, $500 to $1,000 from YouTube and brand deals. That came a little bit later, but it adds up. And there's another $500 a month coming in from guides and basically lesson plans that I sold easily online and made in my underwear. And these small incomes started to compound and multiply over months and years, and my savings and net worth actually grew. And more importantly, multiple incomes adds options and reduces your dependence on other people. So you don't have to find the one job anymore. You don't have to build your resume. You get to build your own independent life for yourself. And you just have to stop betting your life on one single paycheck. Stop putting everything into a single basket of eggs. And it's not like I'm breaking waves here, right? I read all this stuff in Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Work Week 20 years ago when I was back home in freezing cold Canada working for a public school board. But now with tech, apps, and AI, all that kind of outsourcing he laid out in 2007 is so much easier. 5, treat your savings like it's a blood sport. Your money is only yours if you keep it. I saved 70 to 80% of my income every month, minimum. And it wasn't just a budget, it was a whole lifestyle choice that I actually enjoyed. The numbers adding up became a game to me, and living in a new place and a new country was just exciting. The very fact of walking out my front door became something to do. And while I was at it, I tracked every single penny, whether it was a 25-cent water bottle or an 80-cent banh mi sandwich on the streets of Saigon. I wrote it all down. $20 on a Friday night for 6 beers and karaoke, all of it went in there. And it wasn't because I was broke, it was because I was free and I was building wealth and I was enjoying it. I was actually enjoying it because the numbers getting bigger, not smaller. My monthly income from work was only a few $1,000s still, but at this point my burn rate was next to nothing. So my rate of savings was astronomical. So 3% in most countries, maybe 5 or 6. Mine was 80, sometimes 90, and I saved thousands of dollars a month. During my first 2-year contract in Vietnam, I literally saved more than I did in the 10 years before that combined back home. For me, geo arbitrage and the switch in location was everything. I have friends back in San Diego who are making double my income, nothing left over. Friends in Toronto who are my age, who couldn't afford a condo. They told me they couldn't afford to have kids. Meanwhile, I was slowly accumulating 6 figures in the bank and close to zero stress after really only a few years abroad. You don't just make money, you keep it, you protect it, you make it work for you, and you're patient about it, and it will add up. Number 4, Invest like you're buying your life back. Literally think about it in those terms. Your life is time, and you can buy time with money. Most people try and invest to like get rich. I invested to stop worrying, to stop feeling like I had to check the calendar, the months, the days. I didn't gamble on meme stocks or NFTs or any of that junk. I bought index funds, ETFs, and I did buy Bitcoin in 2016. So, big thank you to Tim Ferriss again for that one. Is it boring? Maybe, but I didn't stress the roller coaster, the up and downs. I wasn't checking prices on apps every week or month, because when your lifestyle costs only $500 a month, you don't need a moonshot. You just need to wait it out. You just need to be patient. Even minimal savings, like 60 grand earning 7% a year, it's about 350 bucks a month in passive gains. That means a fire style number over here might only be $200,000 or $300,000. 350 in returns a month, that could be rent covered for plenty of people living in Southeast Asia. Think about that. 60,000 could be enough to pay your rent. My formula is simple. 60% of my cash stayed in low risk ETFs and bonds, 20% went in high risk investments, stocks, etc., crypto, and 20% just stayed in cash as an emergency fund. I don't give financial advice, but my life advice to anyone who wants to have freedom to retire early: save and invest like your future depends on it, because it literally does. And the only person who's going to benefit from this is you. Number 3, turn your experience into digital income. This is something that just wasn't possible when I started teaching as a 25-year-old. But your life is more interesting than you think. And yes, people will pay you for your experience and your value, especially as you get older and you accumulate more of it. So not only did I not have enough experience to share anything when I was 25, I also didn't have the tech. But later I made videos about English language and literature, how to become a teacher, how to teach English, how to teach internationally. And then it sort of evolved into my cost of living abroad, and I just started answering the questions in the comment section of my videos. It felt dumb, like honestly, who cares what I pay for a coffee or how I got certified to teach internationally? But the reality is, people do care. And it turns out thousands of people care, especially if you can save them time, money, or the trouble that you found and the mistakes you had on your path. And those people booked calls, they bought guides, they jumped in my group Zoom calls, and I shared my lessons with them, and they shared their wins with me and their friends. And the whole thing just kind of snowballed. I'm literally just talking about making a few thousand extra dollars a month, because that's how the internet and YouTube and discovery platforms work now. So now, literally 6 years later, I'm retired early, and I get paid to share what I was already doing for free. And I'm only 42 years old, and it doesn't stop when I sleep. That's the real kicker. You don't need to become a YouTuber to do this. It's not the only path. You just need a laptop, the internet, and answering one simple question for anybody who asks. Just ask yourself in the mirror, what do I know how to do that others want a shortcut for, right? It's really that simple. Then you share your answers for free to the DIYers online, and you teach and serve the people who want to pay to have it done for them. So I'd share my English lessons for free, and then kids who wanted extra help in tutoring, i.e. like say edits for their essays, etc., feedback, they pay me. Live somewhere that feels like a reward, not a punishment. Number 2. Location, location, location. Retirement isn't about escaping work. It's about escaping that dog-eat-dog competitive mentality and the deadlines, and most of all, the stress. It's a literal retreat from the battlefield. You are stepping back from everything that feels too intense. And if you're waking up every day right now just to survive and answering to any master but the one, you're not truly retired or alive. I live in Vietnam. I can afford a trainer, I can afford healthy, locally grown groceries, I can afford a house near the beach and help with childcare. And it's a fraction of what it would cost in Vancouver or Vegas. And here's the real punchline. I don't feel poor. Even though I own less, use less, and consume less, and literally have less income than I did back home, I feel rich. Not in Lambos and Rolexes and purchase status or any of that crap, but in earned status, in health, in family, in sleep, in early mornings on the beach that are mine, in my time and my sanity. When your lifestyle finally matches your own values, That's when you're truly wealthy. That's when you become your own man. And in most of Southeast Asia, the ability to choose and control your own destiny, it starts at about $1,000 a month, maybe $1,200 for an adult. It is so incredibly affordable. And that brings us to number one. The most important tip on this list: do not wait for someone else's permission to live your life. The cavalry isn't coming, but you can still walk out of the war. You can choose to pull back. You do not have to participate in that system. You can step outside of the matrix. The biggest lie we're told is that freedom comes after some number, after 55, after 65. That's absolute trash. That someone else is going to come and give you the answers or actions to free yourself from the machine is just totally not true. That there's a time when you shut it off, it's just not real. What if your knees are shot? What if you're back? What if you get hurt? What if you get sick? What if your parents are gone? What if your partner leaves you and divorces you because you're boring and married to your job? What if the person you wanted to travel the world with already gave up on you because you're giving up on yourself? You don't need approval to do this. You don't need the perfect timing or the perfect moment. There's no such thing. You just need to decide to do it, to take action, that now is the time to step off of that hedonistic treadmill. And if your current version of life is not good enough for you, and you know it intuitively, only you can decide that you need to have faith and you need to take the leap and make an actual change and transformation. Quit, move, restart. I started with $5,000 and a carry-on backpack when I landed in Vietnam in July 2019. I had a job, a contract, healthcare, etc. And I had a lot of education and a lot of years of experience traveling and teaching abroad, but I had no savings, like literally none. And now I've got a family and multiple income streams I built myself, and most importantly, a higher purpose. I know what I'm doing with my life, and it's not about working for someone else. And it's all because I didn't wait for someone to hand me the rule book or to give me the green light to do what I pleased with my life. This isn't a dream scenario. It's really just a decision that you're gonna have to make. The system's not gonna save you. There's no one coming to help. There's no clock that's gonna run out. But you can literally just save yourself. And if you're serious about rewriting your future, I've got a very simple Move to Vietnam masterclass that'll walk you through every step of your first 180 days on the ground in Vietnam. Or you could also join my Cost of Living Abroad membership and make the change that thousands of other expats are already living here in Southeast Asia. Just click the links below in the description to start learning and planning right now, or click this video to learn more about my life and lifestyle in Vietnam, or this video if you're curious about living and retiring in other countries in Southeast Asia, like Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, Laos. I'm Evan A. Take care.